What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. It is me, Sam, aka FIFA Brit, and I'm joined by Mr. Brad Thomas. Brad, I kind of feel stupid. I named the entire episode First Half Shots Back last week, and then a day later, FanDuel was just like, nah, fuck you. You don't get to have them anymore.
FanDuel saw you guys give those out to your freaking hundred thousands of followers, and they're like, "Oh, we made a freaking mistake." Did you at least hit a banger while it happened?
I did. Okay, I got a. Well, I wouldn't not like a banger.
Mini banger.
I got this guy on the Hungarian team, Ferencváros, but I forget how you say it. But they have this guy, Elder Civic, who is He's a left back, but he plays as a left winger. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take his first half shot, which was like plus 250 or so, and I'll sprinkle on two first half shots, which was like plus 1900. And he took a free kick, which I didn't expect him to do. I didn't know he was a free kick taker. And then the literal last kick of the half, off a corner, it like bounced off to the edge of the box, and he just let like a terrible shot rip from like 35 yards out. And that was the end of the half. And I was like, oh shit, let's go.
That's beautiful.
So I got that. I was kind of bummed because I locked in a bunch of ladders for the Premier League like early because I was like, I got to make the most of this while we have the market. Yeah. And it was fucking horrific. I did Mattis Tell, got none. I did Palmer, he got one. And I did Salah, and he got one, which was a goal. And I was just like, well, I was like, that's rough. Because like once I took the market away, I was like, all right, hopefully these ladders I placed ahead of time will make me some money so I feel okay about it. And then they all just fucking were awful. So I was like, well, shit.
That's sad. Yeah.
Loads of other things cash though. So I proved I'm not a first half shot merchant. I can still cash other ways still.
I just see that they changed the Jared Bowen shot on Jared Bowen goal to own goal.
Yeah.
Wow, that was late. That was late, wasn't it?
Oh, they did it at halftime.
Oh, yep. That's when I really stopped caring. No, dude. I had like gotten out of this like mentality of first half shots. Like I wasn't like tracking them anymore or anything. And I go, okay, I'll just take this weekend, get back in the groove. Literally couldn't even get the weekend, man. Like how sad is that?
I know, it's such a bummer. And what sucks is several states got to keep them. And I don't know why. I mean, like, I assume it's a state regulation thing, but I don't know what the rule is. I don't understand what the problem is. I don't get it. Because I just assumed that it was FanDuel being like, okay, we're not going to offer you this market. But then, but like, why do some states get to keep it? Like, I think Maryland gets to keep it. Ohio gets to keep it. Like a couple of other like Midwest states. Like, what the fuck? Like, why do they get like not even Jersey? And like Jersey gets like everything. Yeah. So I just wish there was more transparency about this stuff in general. I just want to know why I can't bet it. It's like
it's weird
it's
that
just so
that
stupid.
Some can't and some others. Like that's what's really weird. And it's not like like college football player props. Yeah. It's not like that. You know, that makes more sense. But
yeah, I guess that.
Stupid.
It's so frustrating. And at least if it was like available in Jersey, I could at least like get on the train and like pop over and just like get some action in that way. But the fact that only like 3 states still have it, it's just so confusing to me. Why add it back? Why you've taken it off for 4 months? You've gone for so long without it. They bring it back for 2 days, and then it gets nuked again.
Like it was so like it was out like the way it was out, or like the short amount of time that it was out, like it like made it feel like they made a mistake. Like they were like, "Oh, we made a mistake. We should have never let that back."
Yeah, but I just don't understand how you can mess that up. It's an entire market. You don't add an entire market back accidentally without, putting in your due diligence.
Yeah.
At least maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but to me, I don't understand how you would do that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I've moved on. I mean, look, like I said, there's always a chance we get them back. And I said that last time, and I'll say it this time too. We live in hope, but there's just clearly something is up with it, whether it's at the sportsbook level, whether it's a FanDuel decision, whether it's a state regulation decision. I don't know. I wish we did. I wish there was more transparency, but there's not. So got to move on.
Yeah, dude, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is what it is. Alrighty, let's talk about the Premier League. Specifically, I want to talk about what the race for European qualification looks like, because there's so much up in the air. And I was looking at the league table. It is remarkably close. I looked up the league table. I mean, I was going to look it up anyway, just, do a bit of research. But I looked it up a couple of days ago because I was slandering Unai Emery again, because I felt like it. I don't dislike him as a manager. I just think he's a good manager at taking mid-table teams and bringing them up a level. But he's not very good at sustained success. But I don't have time to go into that. Totally has nothing to do with why he was terrible at Arsenal. There's no reason to expand upon that. But I was looking at the league table because I was like, yo, damn, Aston Villa are in 10th place. That is pretty horrific for a team that is supposed to be doing really, really well.
Horrible. It's because they suck after they
can't handle Champions League. Yeah. They just can't. They can't handle more than one game in a week, which is remarkable to me because they specifically beefed up their squad depth for the sole purpose of handling that. Like, they brought in Ross Barkley, even in the January transfer window. Yeah, they sold Duran, but then they brought in Asensio, they brought in Rashford, they brought in Daniel Marlon, who they then didn't even register for the Champions League. Like, what was the fucking point of... I specifically praised them. I was like, when you are a newcomer to European competition, it's so important to bring in guys with that experience.
Yeah.
Because that helps you a lot. You need that experience. And if you aren't playing in the competition regularly, which right now they are in severe jeopardy of not getting back into the Champions League, so they're not going to be playing in it regularly unless they figure something out. And I don't understand how you can then bring in a Champions League level player that's played very well for Dortmund and then just not register him for the knockout phases of the Champions League. I don't get that. Oh, well. Stupid. Look, I don't mean to go off on a tangent about Aston Villa, but it does play a part into what I'm about to talk about. And that is that the race for European competition is remarkably close. So now we've finished. Everyone's played 27 games apart from Aston Villa and Liverpool, who have all played 28. So it's basically all comparable. But Villa are in 10th. They're at the bottom. So really, they really need to push. But the situation is, you've got Liverpool far ahead of everyone, 13 points clear. Then you've got Arsenal on 54 points. I'm not going to say they're definitely safe, but it would be embarrassing if they dropped out of the top
safe.
Now. They should be safe. I mean, assuming we get Saka and Martinelli back after in the international break, that is great. We have to play Man U, which sucks. We have to play Man U and Chelsea and 2 Champions League games before the international break, which is a miserable run of fixtures that I'm not very hopeful for. But then we get the international break and we pick up on April the 1st. So, God, if we just get to these 4 games and not be totally horrific, we'll see. But Arsenal on 50. Arteta hasn't said when, but he said they're not coming back before the international break. So I'm hoping by April.
Okay.
We'll see. But the international break is great because he's not going to go play for England.
Yeah.
So that gives him more time to rest. It gives the whole team a chance to rest. So hopefully he's at least fit and ready by April, but God knows when.
You guys need it. Like, I was like, who do you guys play in the Champions League?
PSV.
PSV. I was like, man, I can't wait to bet Arsenal at -105 against PSV, but you can't even do that. No. I
mean, I think I know what I'm going to do with that game, but we'll get to that when we talk about the Champions League.
That's a teaser.
Yeah. So you got Arsenal on 54 points. Now this is where it gets really close. The gap between 3rd place Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa in 10th place is 6 points. That's how close it is. You've got Forest on 48. You've got City on 47. Then you got Chelsea on 46. Newcastle on 44, Bournemouth on 43, Brighton on 43, Fulham on 42,
insanity,
and Aston Villa on 42. And there is a good chance that 8 teams will play in European competition from the Premier League, because this is probably my fault, and because I never really knew exactly what the qualifications were. I didn't know what the actual, how you actually qualified for European competition, because as an Arsenal fan, I was always like, okay, you come top 4, you get in the Champions League. That's really all I cared about. I didn't really give a shit about Europa, and Conference League's only been a new thing recently. I always assumed it was top 4 make Champions League, then the next 2 make Europa League, and then the next team after that makes Conference League. That's technically not the case. That's usually how it plays out, but it's not actually the case. The actual way it works, and this is assuming that England get the UEFA coefficient, the 5th spot for the Champions League, which we have like a 99% chance of doing. So I'm just going to assume that that's going to happen. Top 5 teams qualify for the Champions League. That's nice and easy. Then I assumed it was 6th and 7th place qualify for the Europa League. Not technically true. It's 6th place and the winner of the FA Cup. If the winner of the FA Cup comes in the top 5, then it goes to the next eligible team that hasn't qualified. Now, usually that's the case. Usually the team that wins the FA Cup is in the top 5.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, that's your route into the Europa League. Now, there are loads of teams left in the FA Cup still that can win it. So it's a bit hard to sort of go into the permutations. Maybe when we get closer to the latter stages of the FA Cup, we can go through it and see what the permutations are. But then the winner of the EFL Cup, the League Cup, is who qualifies for the Conference League. Now, we know who that might be. It's going to be Liverpool or Newcastle. If Newcastle win, that's huge for them because they've guaranteed something. They're in 6th place right now. Obviously, they want to push for the Champions League, and failing that, they want to be in the Europa League. But if they somehow slip and fall, which is unlikely because they aren't playing in European competition currently, but it's possible, they'll at least have the Conference League to fall back on. But that's a big if they can beat Liverpool. If Liverpool win, obviously Liverpool aren't going into the Conference League. They will be qualifying for the Champions League. That's basically guaranteed at this point.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go to the next possible spot. So to make it easy, even though the position on the table is not technically how it works, technically it's through the FA Cup and the League Cup, but you can assume top 5 are going to make Champions League, 6th and 7th will make the Europa League, and 8th will make the Conference League. That means a team like, look at the teams that we've got competing for these spots. Forest, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. The fact that Fulham could get into even the Conference League.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I'd fucking love to see that. That'd be so cool. Now, I said I'd love to see that. It would be great. The problem is it then might end up costing us like the UEFA coefficient, because then, of course, if these English teams that aren't used to playing in European competition qualify for European competition and then immediately crash and burn, our coefficient's going to be fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll probably go back to it being top 4 rather than top 5. So it's all swings and roundabouts. But, in the grand scheme of things, I'm a big fan of these quote-unquote smaller teams getting into European competition. I think it's really good. I think it looks great for us as a league. It's just really exciting. So we'll see. So I'll ask you the fun question, Brad. Who do you think is qualifying for the Champions League?
Who do I think is qualifying for the Champions League? God.
Let's assume Liverpool and Arsenal have got it locked up.
Okay, Liverpool and Arsenal. City.
Okay.
And Chelsea.
Okay. And now, there'll be one more team.
Oh, I get 5. Oh, yeah. And then Forest.
I was going to, that's the big question. And I really think that's where it's going to be really fascinating is, will Forest stay in the top 5?
Yeah.
I think they can do it.
I think they can stay in the top 5. I don't know if they can stay in the top 4, right? Like, their play hasn't been that great. They've been susceptible to some weird games, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to get results on the road through, like, to be a top 4 team, and like back-to-back losses. That loss, I almost had 3 straight losses, I think, on the road. That loss to what was it?
They just lost to Newcastle 4-3.
Was bad. Like, you should have at least gotten a point from the Fulham match.
Yeah.
I just feel like,
and they got spanked by Bournemouth.
Spanked. I feel like 5th is where they're gonna probably fall.
That's fair.
But I mean, shit. Forest getting the Champions League, that's massive.
That'd be so cool. I'd love to see that because I mean, at least then you'd think they can hold on to Chris Wood and Gibbs White. Otherwise, Gibbs White's been linked to bigger clubs for the past, 2 years. It's inevitable, I think. But if they can get into the Champions League now, suddenly maybe he sticks around. So that's a really, really big for them. Chris Wood, I think, will stay anyway, just because he seems to like it there. but who knows? But it would be a fantastic achievement if they can actually qualify for the Champions League. God knows how they would do, but at least it'd be like massive for them. Just imagine Imagine they get drawn against like Barcelona or Real Madrid. We get Nottingham Forest playing against like one of those like massive European giants. It'd be fucking awesome,
dude.
I would love that, but we'll see.
That'd be sick.
That'd be sick. But then, but the teams that are currently on the outside looking in are still obviously very good. Newcastle, obviously, are in brilliant form, especially if Isak is healthy.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, Bournemouth have been they've been shaky recently, but for the most part, I think they're really good. Brighton are in fantastic form right now.
Great form. Insane form right now.
Holy Mitoma is locked the fuck in. And you know what? Yeah. Fair enough. I love the fact that they were like
playing great.
Yeah.
You know what the cheat code has been, by the way, is Minta shot on goal. I wonder how long it's going to last, but it's been like -110 and he's got one in back-to-back games.
Yeah, because they use him so strangely because he starts as like a winger in a 4-2-3-1 and then if they go up, they sort of switch to a 5-back and he turns into a wing back and it's just like, what are you doing? So it's kind of hard to tell. But I was just going to say, I love the fact that Mitoma, I laughed at Brighton for rejecting like a 90 million bid for Mitoma in the January transfer window from Saudi Arabia. Like that's big money. And I was just like, your whole model is bringing in players, developing them and selling them for big profit. Why would you reject 90 million for Mitoma? And to be fair, since then, he's gone on an absolutely brilliant run and through goals too. Usually he's the assist guy, but he's been scoring, which is a different, it's an aspect of his play we don't usually see.
Well, you said like they're like, oh, we're gonna keep Mitoma, and then you're like, I'm waiting for him to turn up after they said that. Well, boom, Sam, here you go, he's turning up.
Fair play. That's exactly what they would have needed from him, and he's delivered. So can't argue with that. Anyway, this is going to be fascinating, especially because once we get we've still got 11 games left in the season. There's plenty of time, plenty of games to play for. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all shapes up as we get towards it. But if it stays this close towards the end of the season, there are going to be some absolutely fantastic matchups. The table is going to be moving so much on the last day. It's going to be, potentially really exciting.
Yeah.
Even just looking at, the latter end of the Premier League, you've got Forest against Chelsea on the last day. That could be a big one for Champions League. You got Newcastle against Everton. You feel like that's a must win. So many, so many really, really, really good games. Arsenal, Newcastle, the penultimate game of the season. Fuck me. I don't know why we can't play Newcastle very well. We just haven't done very well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But speaking of Arsenal, we should probably talk about how sad we've looked recently. I know everyone got excited. Marino came off the bench at striker and scored 2 goals against Leicester, and everyone's like, "Fuck yeah!" Well, I don't think they said "fuck yeah," but they were like, "All right, okay, Mikel Marino was a striker. All right, we can make this work." And we've now gone 2 games without scoring a goal, and it's just like, yeah, this is exactly what I was kind of expecting.
Like scoring a goal against Leicester City is nothing.
No, it's very easy.
Anybody is doing it. Like me and you were going out there and we're scoring on them at this point.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy. Apart from Spurs, of course. Spurs, of course, lost to Leicester, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But this is why I don't understand why Liverpool fans were getting so concerned. And maybe they're just being dramatic. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to play an underdog gimmick. I don't know. Fuck it. But they're just like, and like, Liverpool will drop stupid points as the season goes on.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. They will drop stupid games, but you still need Arsenal to win games to catch up.
Yeah.
And right now, it's just not going to happen because most of our attack is gone.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, and it just makes us incredibly one-dimensional because, look, I love Martin Odegaard. I think the hate from within the Arsenal fan base towards Odegaard is incredibly unnecessary and, for the most part, not fair to him. He's still a brilliant chance creator. I don't understand how people don't see that. The problem is now, without Saka, he's forced to get involved in the attack more, and his shooting is just not good.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what happened because 2 years ago, he was our joint top scorer with Martinelli with, I believe, 15 goals.
Yeah.
So I don't understand where, this goal scoring ability, which we know he has just it's just not working for him this season.
No, it's
and not. It's really frustrating because he shouldn't be in a position where so much of the actual goal scoring threat is coming from him, because that's not really how we structure our, he's meant to be more of like a deep lying 8 that can play on the edge of the box if he has to, creating those chances, sort of linking up play, where, we're supposed to have a big target man in Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka on the wings, ready to cut inside and shoot. He's used to having that kind of attacking availability, more of a quarterback. It's not a brilliant analogy, but he's there to provide chances. Point guard, exactly. That's probably a bit more apt.
Yeah.
But now he's forced to actually create chances for himself and score, and the ability is gone. So it's putting him in the spotlight a lot more, and making him look not very good. And I'm not going to say he's playing brilliantly, because he's not, but he's being asked to do something that he's not very good at, and it's highlighting a deficiency.
Yeah.
But the fact that Arsenal fans then look at that and be like, we need to sell Odegaard. This, he's not the future of this club. It's just like, it just feels ridiculous to me. We just need to bring in players that complement his style, which involves signing a striker, and it involves having, Saka back in the team. Like, I love Nwaneri. Nwaneri actually does a lot of things that Saka does. He can create. He's got that back post cross down to a T. He can cut it on his left foot and shoot from outside the box. He's got a very similar set of skills.
Yeah,
but he's not a natural right winger. He's actually
midfield.
More of a centre mid. He's meant to play where Odegaard is playing, which is why people are saying Odegaard isn't the future of the club. It should be Saka at right wing and Nwaneri at right centre mid. Now, I'd love to see what that looks like. I'm fine putting Odegaard on the left-hand side, but I don't think we should be getting rid of him altogether. But at the end of the day, he's still 17. He's not going to be playing full 90s the way that Saka is. He's not as good as Saka is. He's a very promising player,
maybe,
but he's just not that good.
Maybe one day.
I say he's not that good. He's just not. That sounded derogatory the way I said it. He's just not as good as Saka, and that's fine.
That's like a fair statement, right? Like, you're not saying anything mean,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be mean. Like, it's not like you're trying to be mean, right? You're just saying like he's not good as a world. He's not as good as a world class player. That's no.
Not a exactly. It is. And then Trossard is. I love Trossard off the bench, but he's just not a brilliant starter. He can shoot the ball well, but he's not doing it right now.
Yeah.
And God knows what Sterling is doing. I'm more than happy to call that experiment a failure. To be fair, we did it at very little risk. We didn't, Chelsea still paying the majority of his wages. It's a loan deal. This was never going to be a permanent thing. He was brought in for squad depth. That depth is being called upon right now, and he's not meeting expectations, which is disappointing, but should not really come as a surprise, I don't think.
Well,
but we'll see.
The biggest question is just like, what do you do to manufacture goals? Because you're going to have, like, your defensive record is going to be great, right? Everyone knows that, but you're going to have to score goals. Like, you're just going to have to, and you have to do something.
Yeah, it's going to rely on, like a worldie from Nwaneri, or Odegaard finally finding the net, or Trossard remembering how to shoot. That's that's it. It's just going to be things that we're not brilliant at. Also, and like to everyone saying that, like this quote unquote set piece FC, I don't remember the last time we fucking scored from a corner. It's been a while. That's usually been like our way to bail us out of games that we can't create chances, but that's not working.
What I thought was like, okay, so you remember Manchester City? This was like, man, I want to say like 3 seasons ago when they were just scoring off of set pieces a ton. It might have been Aguero's like last year of playing, like where he was actually getting minutes. So that maybe 5 years ago. 5 years ago, maybe. Time flies. Sorry. Like 5 years ago, they were just getting set piece after set piece because like they weren't that great in front of net, but they were scoring on set pieces all the time. And I feel like it felt intentional that they're getting set pieces. I thought Arsenal was going to do that when you guys got really banged up. Like if you have a guy who's sitting there on the boundary, just kick it off the guy's leg. But there's a lot of cutting back in, like the Arteta style of play that didn't really change. I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, Aguero actually played at City until 2021. That feels more recent than it was.
Well, last year he didn't play, right? Like last year.
Yeah, he played like 6 games. Yeah.
Yeah, so like 2000. So 5 years ago is about right.
Yeah. Well, fun fact. I mean, I assume that you know this, but maybe you don't. You know who Arsenal's set piece coach is?
Yeah. I don't know his name
Nicholas
though. Yeah.
Nicholas Jovo.
Yeah.
Where we signed him from?
Where?
Man City.
Okay, so that makes sense then.
And do
Because
you
like,
know
dude,
when
they were
you know
getting
when
a
he
ton of set pieces.
you know when Aguero left, if you I don't remember the season specifically, but if you're talking about Aguero's last season, that was 2020, 2021. Do you know what Nicholas Jova's last season at Man City was? It was that season.
That season. See,
Yep.
wow, holy shit. It's all like coming together.
So I don't remember. I don't vividly remember City doing really well from set pieces, but that was around the last time that the Arsenal set piece coach was
That
at
makes
Man
sense.
City. After which he left for us, and so that lines up in a really fascinating way.
That is really funny. Yeah, dude. They used
Look
to
at
like
that.
that was like the beginning of me starting to love corners, and I was like,
Sick fuck.
I just really was like, and this what I would do too, and like so. Just a little peek behind the curtain. This is how I would start live betting teams that were really good at getting corners. Is when they're trying. It feels like they're trying to actively get corners. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna live bet them to score, or live bet them draw no bet, or live bet them double chance. And like that's how I really got into like live betting corners. And then I was like, wait, you can actually just bet on the corner. It's way safer.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I like shots. You like corners. It's all angles. It's all kind of the same angle.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah. And then, you know what? This is the fun way to close out the recap. The Barcelona Atletico Madrid semi-final first leg being 4-4.
Holy shit.
That game was on crack. And do you know what was actually, this is my fun fact about this game.
Yeah.
Bet365 had to pay out every outcome because of the go up 2. So,
oh my God.
Atletico were up 2. So they had to pay out Atletico money line. Then Barcelona went up 2. They went up 4-2. They had to pay out Barca money line. And the final result was a tie. So Bet365 paid out every single outcome, all 3 outcomes on that game, which is, I'd love to know how often that happens. It cannot be very often.
They were probably pissed. Dude, that game was hilarious too, because I was like, I just took corners and I was like, man, I feel like Barca get a ton of corners. And then Barca go down, well, they went down 1 early, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna rebet it. And then they go up, but they only needed 1 more corner for the rest of the game. And I was like, it was like a whole half. I was like, all right, cool. That game was freaking epic, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really bummed. There was something else going on. I forget what it was. I forget which game was when, but I wasn't watching that game. I wish I was, because it ended up being fucking lit. So fair enough. But it looked crazy. There was a guy in the Gold Boys Discord in Soccer Slips who is pretty good at sharing stuff. I believe his username is Dynamic Samurai. And when Lewandowski and Soloth subbed on, he live bet both of them individually and parlayed them together live. And I think it was like plus 5,700, and they both scored.
That's sick.
Which is just like unreal. I was scrolling through Soccer Slips, well, like everyone was like celebrating, and I was just like, why? What happened? And what happened? And I was like going through the member slips. I was like, that's fucking sick. Fair play.
Banger.
That was awesome. Alrighty, let's get into the weekend action. There is no Premier League because, like I mentioned, we had our midweek sesh, and now we're back to the FA Cup. So it's a good chance for some teams that are out of it, like Arsenal, to get some rest. But we've actually got some really interesting matchups. A lot of Premier League teams are playing each other, which is always really fun. I love it. For me, the FA Cup, I still think about the beauty of the cup. I love it when lower league teams go on runs. That's, that's kind of like, that's the magic of the cup for me. That's what makes it special. When I think about the FA Cup, I think about Wigan winning the FA Cup. I believe it was against Man City the same season they got relegated from the Premier League. So Wigan were playing in the fucking Europa League as a championship side. Love that shit. That's what the FA Cup should be about.
Yep.
Which I love. But we've got some really interesting FA Cup matchups, and for the most part, they're all available to bet. Sometimes, like, in New York and in other states, they give you some FA Cup games, but don't give you all of them. But for the most part, all the major games are available, so that's always nice. So I figured we'd talk about a couple of them. First one up is Bournemouth against Wolves. Now, this feels like a game that Bournemouth really must and should win. I mean, just because they've been on a weird streak recently, but they're minus 140, and that's only on FanDuel. I haven't shopped this around. They're only minus one, right? to win, just their money line at home against Wolves. To me, that feels like I feel like you have to.
Like, how do you like? And it's not like you're gonna field some shit side, right? Because you literally don't have a game this weekend, you know.
Yeah, but even their backups are decent players, and it's also not like we're going to jump right into midweek action. You know, after this weekend of the Prem, we've got a whole week until the next game. It's not like we're doing a double game week here. It's as if the Prem was on this weekend, but instead of the Prem, you're playing in the Cup. Exactly. So, you know, even if they do rest some of their players, it's not like they haven't got, you know, brilliant guys available. Like, you know, Marcus Tavernier was out hurt. He's back now. You play him. You know, guys like David Brooks can still rock up. Ryan Christie can play in the attack if he has to.
Ryan Christie's been freaking balling anyway, right? Like,
yeah, this motherfucker. One of those guys I can never get his shots right. They're always priced. He's always like plus 200 for like just to take 2 shots. Yeah. Because typically he either takes like 1 or he'll take like 3 or 4. And like there's really like no way to know it. And like it's so and he's unpredictable because when he plays at the 10, you think he would shoot more, but he doesn't. And then when he plays defensive mid, he'll have random ass games with 3 shots. I'm pretty sure over the weekend he had the first 2 shots for Bournemouth. I'm just like, motherfucker. Yeah, it's so funny. I love guys like that though. It's just because like, it's high risk, high reward, but on like you just hope that like one day you parlay a bunch of them together and maybe you'll get that day. Maybe you'll get the day that you'll decide to shoot.
You're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. That's the dream.
I think for him to take 2 shots was pretty good price too.
Probably. I think it was like plus 200.
Yeah, the only reason I know is because like I looked at him and I looked at Semenyo because Semenyo's price wasn't bad either. I didn't end up betting either, but I was like, I have to know. I have to know what's going on.
Yeah, I really think Bournemouth money line there is probably a decent look. That being said, Mateus Cunha is in really good form right now. Another one of those players that was linked to an exit in January, said no, signed an extension. That being said, his new deal does have a release clause. So, you know, maybe over the summer, Arsenal, if we're looking for someone, let's tap that up. We'll see. But, you know, fair play. He signed on for the rest of the season, and he's actually played really well. I think before this weekend, he had like a goal in like 3 straight games or something like that, or at least he had like 4 goals in 5 games or something along those lines. Playing very well. So I don't know if Bournemouth keep a clean sheet here because, you know, we've talked about this before. They're a very chaotic side, and when they're in the lead, they don't know what the fuck to do. So I think Cunha is definitely at least in play here.
Cunha's been balling. What other matches you like?
City against Plymouth. And I say this because the odds suck, but that's expected because they're like absurdly over. They're like they're minus 1900. But but you can still get like close to even money on goal scorers. There's going to be rotation, that's for sure. But like, just give me a weekend lineup. I want to see guys like James McAtee. I fucking love James McAtee. I love him coming off the bench because you can live bet him at like 8-1, and he scored like twice doing that, which is great. But he also had a hat trick the last time he played in the Cup. So I'm very tempted to ladder his goals.
Like, suck dick. They got lucky to beat Liverpool. Like Liverpool mismanaged their rotation.
Yeah, maybe it was a little bit on purpose. I mean, who knows? Maybe Slot was like, all right, fuck the FA Cup. We'll keep going. Let's get this league title and focus on the Champions League. So who knows? But yeah, they fielded a B team, and Plymouth, fair enough, they got the win.
The win is a win, right?
Win is a win. Can't argue with that. But I mean, you know, if God forbid if Foden starts, I'm laddering the fuck out of Foden goals if Foden starts, because this is exactly the kind of game where Foden would rock up and score like 2 or 3 goals, and the English media would suddenly be like, "Oh, Phil Foden, what a star! What a brilliant young talent! You know, he really is like the best that England has to offer." It was just like, it's fucking Plymouth, you idiots. He does this. He's such a fucking. It's so funny too, because like I saw a tweet like 2 or 3 months ago that was just like, this brace against Ipswich is going to hit like crack, and the media is going to bring Phil Foden back, and he fucking scored a brace against Ipswich, and everyone was just like, oh, let's put him in player of the month, conversations. That's wow. What a Rio Ferdinand was just like, oh, he's such a brilliant, talented young player. Based on fucking what? Based on what? I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Same goes for Cole Palmer, by the way. When was the last time Cole Palmer did anything?
Dude, Cole Palmer's been horrible. Freaking horrible, man.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
And like,
in his defense, he's been creating chances, and the Chelsea players haven't been finishing them. It's the same thing that fucks up all my Enzo assists. Every fucking time I take Enzo assist, he's got the most chances created, the most expected assists. He's got all the fucking creative stats that I give a shit about, apart from the fucking assist.
Yeah.
So he was suffering from that, but he's also been missing chances that he would put away so easily, a few months ago. So
yeah, dude.
He's gone off the boil. He's gone off the boil.
But he was also
just putting it out there
in insane form. Like
he was
for a year and a half. Like the kind of form where you're like, is this like the new norm for him? Is he just gonna be world class, insane kind of form?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think he's a very good player. I feel like, I'm criticizing his current form, but I never want it to come off as like when I'm like mad at the media. I'm mad at the media. I'm not like mad at Foden. I'm not mad at Palmer. It's not their fault that the media gasses them up so much. They can't control that. But I just wish that other players were afforded the same safety net that these players, that Foden and Palmer can do fuck all for weeks, and they will never ever be criticized the way that Saka was for missing a penalty in the Euros, the way that Lewis Skelly was for peak shithousery and copying Haaland's celebration, But when James Maddison does it, when Neil Maupay copies Maddison's, that's fine. When Jamie Vardy does it, it's just banter, guys. It's just shithousery. But when Lewis Skelly does it, it's disrespectful, and he should fucking know his place. The English media pisses me off, but I don't have time to rant about that too much. So if this City lineup is fun and they rotate people, I'm going to look at goal scorers. If James McAtee starts fucking left outside of that, there's probably very little value in that game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Newcastle against Brighton. This is a really fun one because Newcastle have been good, but not great recently. And Brighton look fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm not exactly sure what I want to bet. I was thinking both teams to score over 2.5, but it's like minus 150. It's not great. So then I kind of look at Newcastle money line, which is, I don't remember the last time I saw Newcastle money line being plus 110 at home.
Dude, that was crazy. Like I thought I probably would have priced like minus 110 against they playing Brighton right against Brighton. Plus, I think I saw plus 115 is what I saw. And I was like, yeah, that's just big.
I guess it really depends on whether Isak is fit to play or not, because
that is very important.
I love Callum Wilson. He's not Isak. He missed some awful chances against Liverpool.
Let's see if we got any tidbits on Isak real quick. Let's see what the old manager is saying.
Yeah,
my computer wasn't going so slow. It already had it. Newcastle.
Probably should have looked that up. Look at us, we're slacking.
No, maybe not going to play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also a game that you like. I don't know. I was going to say it's a game you don't have to care about, but also the FA Cup is another, as we talked about, very viable route into European competition. And Newcastle are not remotely guaranteed a good finish in the Premier League. It's so close. They have, they should come. They really should come in the top 5. If they continue, if Isak is fit and keeps scoring, they should come in the top 5. But you never know. They might not. So you can't disregard this game entirely. You can't just be like, we're going to sit Isak and hope that that's fine, because that won't work.
It's one of those situations where if he's hurt and at jeopardy of further injuring himself, that's when he's going to be out. Yeah. Like if it's like something that could be like long-term kind of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm with you there. All right. Man U against Fulham. This is such a weird game. I'm going to talk about it, but I don't have a really good angle on it, because this is one of those games where you could sell me on literally any side or any angle on the total, and I'd be like, all right, I can see that. Like under 2.5, yeah, KG match, they don't score. Over 2.5, yeah, man, you can't defend. All right, I see it. Fulham double chance, yeah, man, you suck. Man, you money line at plus 130 at home, Yeah, well, they just beat Ipswich down, man. Maybe they got something. You could sell me any which way, which for me means probably don't bet the game.
Yep. No, I'll pass on that. I'm good.
Fair enough.
I'm real good on betting that. I've been like pretty chilling on betting United games recently.
Yeah, I might check out Fulham shots if their shot line is like between like 12 or 13. I might, that would be nice. If not, fuck it, I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And then the other game I wanted to talk about is it's 12. Let's go. That's kind of sick. The last one I want to talk about is Forest against Ipswich. Nottingham Forest money line's like minus 140 at home against Ipswich.
Yep.
Okay, that feels like again a situation I should take advantage of.
I would wait for the freaking Forest because, bro, I don't know what they did, but Nuno in their last freaking match was like, I'm just gonna bring all the big guns in at once, and nothing clicked. They advanced obviously, but I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I guess
Nuno wants to be top 4 so bad, like.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the lineup, but again, they have a whole week to rest. If you aren't playing your full strength lineup.
No, what I think he's going to do is they're going to play semi-strength and then just bring everybody on in like the 60th.
Okay, maybe.
I
Okay,
feel like Nuno's such a. I don't want to get clipped. I feel like Nuno's not like the kind of guy to be super aggressive in a cup match. I feel like he's here with a team that can be top 4. That's probably massive goals right there.
Valid. That being said, if you are offering me minus 140 on Forest to win at home against Ipswich, that look terrible. It feels horrible. It feels like something you got to bet. So you probably should wait for lineups, but the price might have moved by then. So we'll see. I won't commit to anything yet.
That's a chance you're willing to take, though. Like, it's not like you're getting a bad price, even if they play like A-B squad, right? Like, it's a great price even for that.
Yeah, and if they sub in the guys later on, brilliant, fine. I'd love that. Yeah. We'll see. Alrighty, let's get out of England. Enough talking about the FA Cup. Let's move on. I tell you what, I know this is very rare, but we've actually got some pretty banger games going on in the other domestic European leagues, which is really fun. So let's hop over to Spain and let's talk about Real Betis against Real Madrid. Oh, this is a fun game, especially now that Antony's red card has been overturned.
Yeah.
I really like this game.
What do you like about it? Tell me.
I think Madrid money line feels borderline disrespectful. It's
but even like, doesn't it feel like Betis steals a point here with like Madrid?
That may well be true.
Madrid derby on Tuesday.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. That being said, I see Madrid money line at minus 130. That's very tempting. Like it was like minus 115 against Sociedad in the Copa del Rey, and I was just like, that looks really tempting. I didn't take it, and then they won 1-0. And that was without Mbappe.
And it wasn't even like Sociedad had a chance to score. Like I watched that game, Sociedad had a shit ton of possession, and they weren't scoring, bro. You could have extended the game by 20, 30 more minutes. They weren't scoring.
They just don't score. They're such a boring team now, which is really sad. Because they used to be so good. Yeah, it is what it is. Madrid moneyline is tempting. I think the price is a little disrespectful. That being said, I don't know if I'm going to take it. What I do want to, well, at least what I'm considering, is Betis shots. Because they have got some absolute shots wagons in this squad now. They've got Cucho Hernandez. They've got Isco. They've got Antony. They've got this fucking 19 or 20-year-old left winger that I don't particularly think is very good, to the point where I don't remember his name, but he'll take 2 shots. They've got guys that will rip from midfield, like Lo Celso. He'll have a go from 30 yards out.
Yeah,
he's probably pissed he got taken off pens. Their shots line at home against Madrid is you can get over 11.5 for plus 110.
Yeah,
12 shots, especially if you assume that Madrid should win this, and you want to, you want to gamble on Madrid, taking the lead and Betis playing from behind. 12 shots is very doable with the guys that they have in this squad. So I haven't locked it in yet, but that is probably the angle I'm going to take, especially now that Antony is back in.
Yes, like Mr. Ripper, Mr. New Lease on Life.
I know. I love it. I'm so happy for him.
Like your
He looks
child.
he looks so free. He looks so free.
He does.
It's just he gets the freedom to play like a Brazilian should. He was just like, the weather is amazing here, and it was just like, wow, no shit. The weather in Spain is nicer than Manchester in the winter. What a surprise! But yeah, no, good for him. I love the fact that, with the exception of possibly Jadon Sancho, pretty much everyone that leaves Man U just looks great as soon as they leave.
Yep.
Even Sancho's not having a bad season. He's just not getting enough consistent playing time to prove that he is good. When he does play, he gets assists. So, kind of hard to hold it against him. That's just Chelsea roulette.
Yeah.
That one looks fun. And then we have Atletico Madrid against Bilbao. That also looks like a great game. Atletico Madrid money line is like even money at home. And Bilbao are a good team, but I don't know if I respect them on the road.
I don't like betting their games. I think I'd probably take a stab on Atletico to win. Like that'd probably be where my money is going to be. It's like even money or plus 105. Like that's probably where
really tempting, especially at home, just because, Bilbao's attackers they've got good talent, but sometimes they just disappear from games. I've seen them play some horrifically bad games.
Very bad.
Nico Williams is the Spanish Martinelli. I've been saying this. I find it hilarious that Arsenal fans are like, yeah, let's go out and spend 90 million on Nico Williams. It's like, yeah, dude, he's got like 1 goal or 2 goals and like 3 assists in the entire season. He's got like 4 or 5 goal contributions in half a season. That Martinelli is better than that, and we don't really and you guys aren't rating Martinelli, so it doesn't make sense to me that we would buy him when we could buy Lookman for half the price probably. Please sign Lookman in the summer. We would never disrespect you like that, my king. We would never say your penalties are shit. Come play for us. Well, yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I think Atletico money line at even money at home is really difficult to pass up.
Yeah. I think so too. It's just like, I don't know. Anytime I think about betting Bilbao like on the road, I think it's like if they have good games, it's like they're rescuing it. It's like from a trailing position. That's like kind of what I think about it. It's never like, oh, they just had this dominating game or they win 1-0 late in the game. That's not happening against Atletico in Madrid. Like that's just not happening. So
yeah. I'm with you on that. All right, let's head over to Germany. And we got Frankfurt against Leverkusen. This is second place against third place. This is a really, I think this game is very exciting. And, both teams to score and over 2.5 is almost even money, which is really tempting to me. That being said, I say that about Leverkusen games, and then it ends up being just like 2-0 to them. But I'm just like, come on, guys, really? But, you'd hope Frankfurt can score at home, especially with Hugo Ekitike, I think it's
I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not even.
I think it's Ekitike. Otherwise, I just nailed that completely wrong. So we'll see. But I rate him highly as a striker. I think he's really stepped up since Marmoush left for City. So I think this game could be I think it could be a good game.
Yeah, I don't have a strong lean on that game. I think that we see a ton of goals, but I just always get weary of like teams that have these banger matchups in Champions League coming up, right? Like,
yeah, we could have with Champions League on the horizon. It's so you got to think about that.
Like, it could be a banger matchup, and we're just like, oh shit! Like, these guys are just sitting here like kicking the ball around because all they can think about is what's going to happen when they play, and we'll use as an example what's going to happen when they play Bayern Munich, right, for the 50th time. And they want to get blood off them because that's like, even if they like, it's not even about like fielding the good lineup, right? Like it's just they're gonna field a good lineup, and then who knows where their head's going to be. So
yeah, we'll see. But I'm tentatively looking forward to that game, but no way of knowing until we see how they line up. Leverkusen's lineups have been really unpredictable lately, which is really fucking annoying.
They have.
Like every now and then they'll just like drop words for no reason, like, buddy, where'd you go? That being said, if that does happen, they usually play a Frimpong up there instead of Wirtz. He gets to play that like winger role, the inside forward role, rather than the wing back role. And at that point, just find a Frimpong shot on target for like plus 140 or something, and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go take it. Let's hop on a plane and go to Italy. Brad, we have 2 exciting Italy games. I feel like, we used to have no Italy games, but now all the fun ones are coming up.
Now you're a Serie A fan.
Yeah, well, all right. Let's not go too. Let's not say things we can't take back, Brad. That's I respect the league. I think the teams have more quality than they get credit for. I think like Como, for example, a very exciting side. What a great result against Napoli over the weekend. That was a fun game. But all right, I've got 2 games for you, Brad, and as you're our resident Serie A expert, I'm gonna let you take the lead on those. We've got Napoli against Inter Milan, and we've got AC Milan against Lazio.
Wait, which one do you want to go to first? We're going to the Lazio one. Oh, I had the
you
wrong
take
one
whatever you do whatever you want.
All right, this is just my stance. This could literally be 0-0, but I refuse to be on a Napoli match against a big side and not bet both teams to score at a playable price.
Mm-hmm.
Like outside of Juventus, like every big club they've played against has been a freaking at least 1-1 at the very least, and it's minus 118 for them. I was trying to pull up their recent form. It's like minus 118. Like Inter defensively haven't been great. They haven't been bad. And then like the last 2 times these 2 teams played, bangers. But let me pull this up. Okay. Listen to these matches, right?
Yes.
We'll go Lazio 2-2. We'll go Roma 1-1. Juventus 2-1. Atalanta 2-3. Those are the last big boy matches that they played. Even when these 2 teams played earlier in the season 1-1. Like I just feel like both teams to score, I'm firing it away.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that. I'm annoyed at myself because we said the same thing about the Como Napoli game, and I think that was like the 6:30 a.m. kickoff, so I was never going to wake up for it. But I told myself I would, and I didn't lock in both teams to score at like almost even money, and it happened like super easily. So that's on me for not waking up.
Yeah.
Oops. All right, Milan Lazio.
God, bro, I saw a post today that said, I didn't think it was possible for Milan to hire a worse manager than Fonseca, but they might have. Dude. Oh, my God. Another gift that keeps on giving is the both teams to score. This one's a little more juiced.
Makes sense. That's because Lazio are wagons for goals now, which I never thought I would say, but they are.
You remember at the beginning of the season when Lazio team totals were like the gem and they were always like even money to plus 110 and you're just like firing away Lazio team totals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ever since Immobile left, they became so much more exciting.
Yeah. That's all they needed. Someone to stop sucking all the attention out who wasn't actually converting.
This is Tati's club now, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out Tati. NYCFC star.
Yeah, that I like both teams to score even at that price. You can play over 2.5, but I always feel weird like if you're playing a juiced over 2.5 for 10 cents more, I mean less. Are you think this is going to be a 3-0 game, right? Like that's my thing. Do I think Milan are going to just beat Lazio 3-0? I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah. Very fair. Very fair. Alrighty, let's fly over to France. That's our last of the domestic leagues before we break down some Champions League. We have arguably one of the best games in Ligue 1, which is always fun. We have PSG against Lille. And both teams to score over 2.5 is minus 127. That's just on FanDuel. Haven't shopped it around. Maybe you can get minus 125, minus 120. That's a must play for me. I know PSG are at home. The concern here is that Lille don't score, but this game is usually an absolute banger, so I feel like I have to.
Bro, I'm passing on this match. I like PSG and I like the over. I don't know. I haven't got a good grip on Lille. Like the last couple times I bet Lille was like they gave minimum effort, and they were like earlier in the season they were a team that you could just go and bet overs and they'd just be automatic. I'm trying to remember what matches they were. Because they actually, if you look at their history, it wasn't bad. I didn't bet that Rennes game. Man, maybe I haven't bet them in a while. I should give them another chance. I did bet them against Marseille in the cup match, the Angers match. I bet. Yeah, I've been burned, but it really was like a month ago. You know, we gotta be freaking goldfish in this industry.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know, to be fair, PSG's defensive record has been pretty good lately. I mean, yeah, 7-0 in the cup. I mean, then the PSG Lyon game was a banger, which I knew it would be. That was 3-2, so fair enough. But then 7-0 against Brest, 1-0 against Toulouse, 3-0 against Brest, and then then 4-1 against Monaco. Monaco at least got one. But yeah, it's really just like, all right, can Lille get one goal?
Yeah,
that's the question. And they should. They should. The alternative is PSG money line and over 2.5, which is
that's what I was about to ask. Like, what is that price? Like, that's what I'd be thinking about, right? Like,
yeah, that is so PSG money line over 2.5. That is -125. So that's also tempting.
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit back and watch it. Who's to say?
Yeah.
But it's usually a good matchup.
Let's see. Dembele goal is -105. But, dude, Ramos got on the score sheet in the cup match. You think they're going to start him?
No, I don't think so. He'll come off the bench.
I don't think so either.
We'll see. Hey, as long as Jonathan David is playing for Lille, there's a chance they score.
Yes, and there's a chance that we talk about it. Like, there goes Jonathan David
really
again.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Remember, if you're aware of his existence, he doesn't play well. It's only the games that you forget that he's playing where he scores. Yeah. So just whatever you do, maybe just lock in your bets now and then pretend they don't exist. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But of course, we do have to remember that both of these clubs are playing in the Champions League in a couple of days after this game. So you can't, whether that means they'll be more cautious and they won't take as many risks, or they end up rotating and we see a bunch of subs that want to score. You could go either way. So maybe it's a game you don't touch, but in theory, in an isolated bubble, this matchup is usually really exciting and high scoring. So we'll see.
We shall see. We shall see.
We shall. All right, let's jump into the Champions League. Woo! We're not going to do what we did last time and forget that it's happening.
Yeah.
We are officially in the round of 16. Now, I said to Brad, we're going to cover every game because there are 8 games, no more, picking and choosing, but there are, there will be games we love more than others. So some are going to get more attention, Yeah. That's the way it's going to be. All right, let's jump into it. Let's start with Club Bruges or Brugge. I always forget. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, but I've been calling him Bruges all my life. It's both. Oh,
yeah,
well,
it just depends on
I've been saying Bruges.
Bruges is what most people say, but it's like if you could say it with the little accent, the Brugge accent, I can't say it. And I say Bruges.
Yeah, fair enough. They are playing against Aston Villa. Aston Villa are on the road. They famously, are they playing in the cup? Are Aston Villa in the FA Cup?
They're in the cup.
Who are they playing in the cup? Did we cover that game?
Who are they playing?
We did not. Are they in the FA Cup?
Yeah, I think they are.
Now I got to go double check that. Oh, they are. They play on Friday.
Yeah.
They play Cardiff on Friday. Gotcha. Okay. Well, we know Liverpool. We know Aston Villa struggle to handle multi-game weeks. They're on the road and they're playing Club Bruges. And Bruges at home, their tie no bet is like +115, +120.
Yeah.
To me, that is a must take because I feel like that is really disrespectful to a very good European side. I feel like Villa are benefiting from some English tax here. Yeah, I was torn between the tie no bet and just taking Bruges to advance. But frankly, I don't really want to fuck with a second leg that back in their home stadium.
Yeah,
because Aston Villa are at home on their day, and if they've got the necessary rest, I haven't looked at the schedule. I mean, my guess it will be a double game week, but they usually do well in the first one, and the first one's usually the Champions League one. So they've been doing well in the Champions League, but not well in the Prem when that happens. So I don't really want to fuck with a second leg. Why risk, the double outcome? I'll just take this first leg at home, for Club Bruges. Just don't lose. And a tie no bet at plus money feels wildly disrespectful.
Yeah, I actually like them. I just think the price on them to advance is really nice at plus
Yeah.
200. So
Yeah. I could be
for
tempted
me,
either way.
yeah, I think both are great. Like, I think that whichever way you want to play it, it's just really up to if you want to dodge that second leg.
Yeah.
But the good news is, right? Like, if you take double chance, I mean, excuse me, shit, what is it? If you take Why am I drawing a blank? If you take
Kind
them
of
to
bet.
advance, right? If you take them to advance at plus 200, and then they win that first leg, you're going to get a great price on it. At the
A
worst,
hedge.
on a hedge, worst is going to be like minus 105. So,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
but
I
then you lose
just
everything if if they freaking tie and then lose. You're like
yeah.
shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. I just don't really see a scenario where Bruges don't get a result at home
Yeah,
and
same.
then go
I'm
through.
on Bruges draw no bet, by the way. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
I like them both. I don't really want to fuck with the second leg, so I'll be definitely. I won't say definitely, but I will most likely be taking the tie no bet.
Yeah.
Dortmund against Lille. I put in parentheses, fuck this game. Mostly because these are two of the most bipolar teams that I've ever put money on. And I just, again, don't have a good read on how this is going to go. Dortmund moneyline at home is somewhat playable, but I don't trust either of these teams. So I just don't want to bet this game. I don't know how you feel about it, Brad, but this
Wait,
game is
you
a
know what's
big
funny?
red flag.
I got my producer sent me my host sent me a note and was like, "Hey, are there any games you don't want to talk about for Champions League?" And I said, "Dortmund, though."
You know, ball.
I
This
think
game
when I was
sucks.
looking at that, I think like my initial thought was Dortmund team total over 1.5, but that could be such a stale game. And I think it's gonna be a game where people are naturally gravitating to betting over it, and it just becomes so stale. So
Yeah. I feel like, this feels like a really important time to remind people that as much as we can get incredibly exciting games in these rounds, once we get to the knockout rounds, especially the first legs of
oh
knockout rounds,
god, they
teams
tighten
are
up too
very
fast.
risk averse. It's you see a lot more risk averse football. No one wants to sacrifice the advantage early. You don't want to have to go into the second leg down. Whereas once you get to the second leg, I love betting on second legs because you
Yeah.
know what's at stake. You know exactly what team
You
is
know
playing
exactly what
for.
they need. You have a target.
Yep.
Yes,
It's
same,
just like,
bro.
oh, you're down 2 goals. All right, you have to shoot. And to be fair, a lot of times the books are, I say a lot of times, they are. The books are aware of this. So you kind of have to have in your head a number of like what line you're fine with. Like when Atalanta were going to play Bruges, I was like, okay, Atalanta really need to shoot in this game. Their line for shots was like 18 and a half. And I'm just like, no, that's way too high. I'm not going to bet that. And I think they ended with 18. So I'm glad that I didn't, if that's the case.
Yeah.
So kind of have to just, you kind of have to, be disciplined and be like, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. But if the odds or the line don't make sense, gotta be able to just not bet it rather than be like, well, fuck, I think this will happen, so I'm going to take it anyway. No, don't do that. So I don't want to touch this game because I don't have a good read on it. And even if I did, I'm not sure I would bet it anyway. But yeah.
I was going fucking fuck that. I was like, dude, I literally was like thinking too, like, there'll be a good like I'll probably take Dortmund corners. Like that'll probably be the most. Like first half, they're corner goblins. It's obviously that line's not out, so I don't talk about it, but that'll probably be where I'll land.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. When you say corners, I say just tell me where or when. All right, next game, let's talk about PSV against Arsenal. I don't want to spend too much time ranting about Arsenal, so I'm going to make this very short and sweet. I respect PSV. I think they've got some really, really good players. I love some of their guys for shots. Depending on who starts, I'll look at their shots, or I'll look at PSV shots in general as a team. I think this is an under 2.5 game. I respect Arsenal's defense incredibly. They have one of the best defenses in all of Europe. Under 2.5 is almost even money. It's the first leg. It's going to be tentative. Arsenal know they have the home leg coming back. So it's really just going to be PSV are going to be incentivized to attack. because no one wants to go to the Emirates and need to get a result,
Yeah.
So this feels like, under 2.5 is very playable. It's like minus 105. And at that point, you are essentially betting on, can Arsenal defend the attacks that PSV give them? Because I do not see this Arsenal side generating a significant amount of offense, especially on the road with the players that they have available.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love Nwaneri, I still respect Odegaard, but I just don't see it happening. If Mikel Merino is our striker, it's just going to be, it's going to be cross the ball and pray, play for corners and cross it in and pray. That's what it's going to be. So I really think under 2.5 is the move there. And then assuming that happens, I don't think I would touch the second leg just because hopefully we win that. But, it is what it is. This feels like an under game. I did not think the under 2.5 would be so playable.
That's fair. And it correlates, right? Like Arsenal are minus 105 to win, right? Like a team that's minus 105 to win on the road in this situation. And I don't think they think it's going to be a banger, because if they thought it'd be a banger, right, they'd probably make Arsenal like minus 135 to win. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If someone came up to me and was just like, I want to take PSV Tino bet or anything like that, I wouldn't talk them out of it. I just don't see a scenario where this game is a banger, and I don't see a scenario where PSV score 2 or 3 goals. So for me, I think I'll take the under, and if I'm wrong, so be it. And I pray it's Arsenal scoring the goals.
No, it'll be just like the freaking first leg of Villa versus Bayern. So that's when it'll be just like that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's talk about the Madrid derby. I believe this is the only other game that gets played on the Tuesday before we get into Wednesday games. Whew, baby. I am so glad that we got these matchups. I know I said it would have been, Madrid, Leverkusen, and Atletico Bayern would have been really interesting games because we haven't seen those matchups. But the matchups we do have, I think, are interesting. So I'm looking forward to this.
I really like this matchup. I just feel like we just see Madrid goals, right? Like you can take their money line. I think it's fair, but goals just protects you from the 2-2 or anything like that,
Yeah, no, that is very valid. I'm trying to see how it's been this season. Yeah, they played to a 1-1. They've had, oh my God, the last 3 Madrid derbies have been 1-1.
Yeah, but I was gonna talk about that. The freaking matches those matches were like, most of them were dominated by Madrid. Especially that last one. Like Madrid should have scored 2 or 3 in that game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they had, oh my God, 23 shots, 9 shots on target. That's just a finishing problem.
Yeah.
Pause.
I'm a good finisher, don't worry.
Hey, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Both teams to score is like minus 130. It's really tempting, especially if Lucas Vazquez gets started at right back, because I don't respect that guy.
For both teams to score?
Yeah. It's really tempting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I started my handicap in this, but I just don't see Madrid keeping Atletico out. Like, when's the last time Atletico had been shut out in a match?
The last time they haven't scored in this fixture is December 2021. Obviously those are different squads. That's why I don't love looking at head-to-head matchups, because
not head-to-head. So the last one was January 18th, the last time they failed to score.
Yeah. Against Leganés. Not Leganés. Legan. I don't know how you say it. But I think that's the same team that beat Atletico, Barca, and Madrid.
Yeah.
They've been the giant killers this season, which is very funny. Yeah. 1-0. When did they play Madrid?
I think I'm gonna double dip.
Did I make that up? I may have made that up. They definitely beat Barca and Atletico, though.
I'm gonna double dip. Call me
What you double dipping on?
I think I'm gonna take Madrid team total and both teams to score.
Oh.
I didn't know.
What's the team total line?
Like minus 110.
Wow, to score twice?
Yeah, I thought that was in Champions League 2, and they know they don't want a 1-0 game playing against, like, in the other leg,
That's so fascinating. I like that. The reason if I hate double dipping personally, and if I had to pick, I see a world where Madrid concede a goal to Atletico, but they should score one of their own more than it's just I could so see them scoring one and then just not converting that chances to get the second. Exactly what happened in the last time they played.
Pissed.
I know. But I like both reads. The odds that you're getting on the team total is really nice considering how
that's probably what I'll probably end up saying. I need to think about that a little bit more.
Fair enough. All righty, let's move on to the Wednesday games. We have, God knows how long we've had this game. Bayern Munich against Leverkusen. Oh. Now, are we going to fall for the trap? Or is this going to be exactly what we've seen? But all I'm going to say is under 2.5 goals is plus 126. Now, this game has fucking sucked both times we've seen it so far this season. So will it continue to suck, or are we finally going to get goals? For me personally, it's the first leg. You know those first legs are cautious. Yeah. I really want to take that under. I wouldn't do a full unit, probably a half a unit play, but plus 126, and I haven't even shopped that around yet. It's so tempting based on how we've seen these teams play each other.
I took Leverkusen. I couldn't believe they were plus 0.75. I thought that was like, you see, Leverkusen. I feel like Bayern haven't beat Leverkusen like forever. What it feels like.
Yeah, that's fair. But to be fair, last season Leverkusen were absolutely unreal.
Yeah, I mean, but they played them tough even this season.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I just didn't enjoy any of those games.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we'll see. The under is really calling to me, but as soon as I take that under, it's going to be an absolute banger, like we thought it would be the first two times. So
yeah,
we'll see. But at plus money, again, I thought that line would be closer to a pick'em. Figure we see the minus 110 on that line, but plus 126 to the under when these teams have really just fucked up and given us just dull games. It's really tempting. We'll see.
I'm really betting it, but I'm pissed about it. Like I'm betting the double chance. Well, not double chance, the plus 0.75, but I'm pissed about it. Just so you know, I'm putting that out there on the record.
Fair enough. It's the record has acknowledged the fact that you are mad. All right, good to know. All right, we have the Serie A's final hope. Inter Milan playing away from home against Feyenoord. Now, I'm not going to bet on Inter because I've got a future on them now. I finally bought in at 16-1. So I like their side of the.
I'm on them at 18.
Yeah, I like their side of the bracket. And to be fair, they probably should get a result here. But I tell you what, Feyenoord have been like weirdly good in the Champions League. So like fair play, they've rocked up and scored when it mattered.
Yeah.
As our resident Serie A expert, Brad, how do you think this is going to go?
To roll here. I like them to roll. And I think that this Inter team, they play these knockouts way different. Like if this were to be like a team where they see danger, they would play really cautious but I don't think they see danger. And I think their mentality is we play our game. And if we can go up, bring 2 to the house, that's when we really can just like solidify our stance in this game. I think they destroy Feyenoord, but Inter have been shaky though. So let's just put, I just make sure we say that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Alrighty. The last 2 games that I want to talk about are such fun games. I'm going to enjoy both of them. I don't know what I want to bet yet, but it's one of those games where you just be like, okay, do you have faith in this team? Yeah. First one is Benfica against Barcelona. Barcelona money line is very bettable. It's like minus 110, minus 115. Do you think Barcelona can win on the road in Portugal? If you do, brilliant. The money line is right there.
I think there's be some freaking tomfoolery in this game.
Yeah. Oh, what kind of what are you thinking about tomfoolery?
Anytime freaking Barcelona or Benfica play in a high stakes match, there's some nutty shit that happens. And like Benfica score twice and Barcelona, like, what the hell? Does just feel like that all the time. These are the 2 high stakes teams in knockout stage where you're like, what the frick did I just watch?
That's very
I don't think I have a bet on that. I don't think I have a bet on that. No, I don't. I don't have a bet on that game at all.
Interesting. Barcelona moneyline is really tempting to me at that price, but I don't think I'll bet it simply because going to Portugal and getting a win is very difficult.
Yes.
So We'll see. I like goals in this game. I think it'll be pretty high scoring. That being said, the odds kind of suck. It's like minus 170 for both teams to score over 2.5. And it's the first leg, which I've always said can be cautious. So it feels like a game where I will come back and take that in the second leg, depending on how this first leg goes. Or alternatively, you can parlay both teams to score in that game with both teams to score in the PSG Liverpool game, which is the last game I'm going to talk about. And it's arguably the most exciting. These could be, in theory, like outside of Real Madrid, these could be the two most informed teams in Europe right now. And how fun is that we get to see them play?
That one I'm passing. I have Liverpool to win. I gobbled up a little bit of PSG. I think it's to make the finals. Oh, no, I didn't lock it in yet. Shit, I need to get that. I'm going to bet a little bit on PSG to win make the finals. I think it's plus like 500 or something. We'll see. I hope Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see this. PSG, it's so hard to gauge PSG's talent because they aren't tested domestically really whatsoever, apart from like two teams. And in the Champions League, they did not have a very good start. Their 2024 was rough. There was a point where they were, at the bottom or even outside of the qualification zone for the knockouts, which is insane. But once we hit 2025, Dembele turned into an absolute demon. He looks like he can score absolutely any opportunity now, which is wild. Liverpool's defense is not brilliant. It's a little shaky. If Robertson plays, he's old. He can't really defend. And his backup is Tsimikas, who is not good.
Yeah.
And Trent, as much as I love Trent can be a defensive liability. So, playing down that left wing, he's going to be up against, Special K, whipping in service of Dembele and Barcola. So this game, I think, is going to be really interesting. So both teams to score over 2.5 is kind of juiced. You can't really solo it, but you can do both teams to score Benfica, Barcelona, and both teams to score PSG, Liverpool. That's basically even money. So that might be the way to go.
I mean, I just can't see a world where both teams score doesn't hit.
That's fair.
Like PSG, like they're at home too. Like, come on.
Yeah. I'm really excited to watch that game. Both those games, Benfica, Barca, PSG, Liverpool, they're both, they look like they should be so much fun. Yeah. And if for some reason the first leg's are cagey, then we get to see it all over again in a couple of weeks afterwards. So
it's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, Brad, any other games that you want to talk about before we call it a night?
Nah, man, this was fun. We went ham on this episode.
That was a good sesh. We got loads of games in. This is great.
Yeah, we did.
The Champions League is so much fun. And as much as I'm saddened by Arsenal, there was nothing to complain about because you just kind of suck. So it's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
Yeah. Follow me on X at MrBradThomas. I just hit a plus 7,000 bet today. So I'm feeling really high. Yep. Soloed Jake Knapp. It's very nice.
Is that golf?
Golf. Yeah. Actually, I've hit back-to-back first-round leaders in a market that I absolutely freaking hate. I hate this market. But like the more I try to grow my brand, the more people are like, can you please post first-round leaders? So this season, I've posted it. And I think like, I don't know, 5.
Well, now that you've hit 2 of them, the more you hit, the more people are going to ask for them. So yeah. you must be good at it.
I literally just build out a model and then I go, this fucking guy. Like, I'll give you the logic on this bet. We got a little time. Jake Knapp, I've chased his first round lead in 2 tournaments that he's played so far, and he's finished had the shared lead and finished 1 stroke off. Always has either a great first round or a great 4th round. And I was like, course fit doesn't matter when a guy's going out and playing all these tough courses. Well, he just went out in Torrey Pines and was almost first round leader when I had him there. Why can't he do it at a course that's also demanding off the tee? I found out I was wrong about being demanding off the tee, but still, it's really
fair enough.
Nice. He shot a 59. He beat the course record by 5 strokes.
Oh, fair play. Fair play. I think I understood about half of that because I am not a golf guy. But you know what? To the people that love golf at home, there you go. You got a bit of bonus golf content. So you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to plug before we?
Nah, man. Just chilling.
Nice.
This is a chill week. So
good shit. All right, you guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. And if you haven't signed up for Gold Boys already, 1, you should do that. And 2, if you want to, you can do so at goldboys.com. Shout out to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to put this podcast on. Let us just yap away for an hour and 20 minutes because we love to do so. And we're very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do so. So thank you guys. And yeah, best of luck with all your bets this weekend. Remember, you don't have to bet on absolutely everything. Be cautious, be safe, be responsible. Don't go crazy. There's no Premier League. So just a warning that the FA Cup can be a bit of a crapshoot. That being said, let's go James McAtee. Please start James McAtee. We're going to ladder the fuck out of him. Be responsible. Also ladder the fuck out of a City youngster. See, it's the duality of man right there.
Yes, absolutely. Get the money.
Best of luck.
Be smart.
Exactly. You know the vibes, Brad. You know the vibes. But yeah, best of luck with all your bets this weekend. If you aren't following the podcast, go ahead, follow the podcast on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling generous, a 5-star review would be lovely. Thank you all for listening. Brad, it's been great to catch up with you. Look forward to seeing you next time. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.